Hi folks, and welcome back to Quarantine According to Eddie. It's about 25 to 8 in the evening on the 31st of May, which is pretty scary really, considering we went into this lockdown at the back end of March. We're now entering our 4th calendar month, but certainly 3rd full month of lockdown as we go into the 1st of June tomorrow. Now 1st of June is also a very important event here in England because that's when schools are opening again. Is it the right time to reopen schools? Well, some say that schools have got to open at some point, and that we've got to take the plunge. Some say that it's now safe for schools to do so. Some cynical voices might suggest that it's a way of distracting the population following the Dominic Cummings affair, as the Romans used to say, panem et circuses, bread and circuses. That's all that people want. Cynical voices might say that. But regardless, 1st of June is quite a big event, and if nothing else, because it will be the 3rd month. And it's been a long time now, and certainly people have been feeling it and feeling the hit at different times. Some people only now. I personally, I think really probably about 2 weeks ago is when it really hit me, and last couple of weeks I have been really quite down, if I'm honest. I've been finding it quite hard. Mainly that idea of not seeing people, not having contact with them. It plays on my mind because I have a bit of a thing about, if people aren't, if I'm not seeing people, if I'm not reminding myself to them, then they'll probably forget me. They'll forget all about me. I know it's illogical, but I've been picking it back up and I've been reminding myself, look, I haven't forgotten about the people that matter to me, so they probably haven't forgotten about me. And one of the things that sort of made me think about this was that I certainly hadn't forgotten about someone who I care very much about, and I bought them a little present. Yes, it's a little bell. But it's not just a little bell. This is called a guardian bell, or a gremlin bell. And it's a motorcyclist tradition that you give this to someone that you care about. You can't buy them for yourself. Someone who cares about you, who loves you, has to give you one. And the more they care, the more protection it will give. See, the idea is that this little bell hangs from the lowest point of your motorcycle. While you're out on the road, there are evil spirits. They're out on the road, and all cultures have traditions of evil spirits. I mean, look at Saint Christopher, who's the guardian of travellers, the idea of jinns out on the road. Either way, these spirits are waiting on the road and they grab onto your motorcycle. The little bell is there to catch the spirit, drive it nuts with the sound of the ringing, so it just falls off. And it provides some level of protection. Kind of a bit, I suppose it's sort of a similar sort of superstition to the evil eye. Well, maybe not similar, but kind of in the same vein as the evil eye that you get in the Mediterranean as well. And this gift is for someone who I really care about. But it goes completely against everything that I stand for as a philosopher. I'm supposed to believe in the logical and the rational, and yet here I am giving this little gift, which is completely superstitious. And yet, it means something. More than just a gift, it means something more. And it sort of shows this unusual relationship that we have with superstitions. Now, I would love to say that I'm not superstitious, and I really want to say that I'm not superstitious, but the truth of the matter is, the evidence doesn't stack up. I knock on wood for good luck. I salute magpies to break the spell. I say hello to crows, and I'm giving a guardian bell to someone who I care about. Whether I like it or not, I am superstitious. And that really shouldn't be the case. So I'm sort of like a reluctant believer in superstitions. And you could argue, I mean some people would argue, that religion is the greatest superstition of them all. I don't think that's fair, but there are superstitious elements to it. So let's just have a think about what a superstition actually is. Superstition is the idea that you can change your fortune or you can change events by performing some sort of ritual. And I suppose that for anyone who doesn't believe in superstitions, it seems like it's complete madness. But we perhaps need to go a little bit further and look at why is it that there are superstitions in the first place. They're traditional, they come from generations and generations back. But it all seems to stem from one core point. Superstition comes from, well, it's sort of like one point that breaks into two. Superstition comes from a position of fear and lack of control. For cultures or for people who don't feel like they have control over their circumstances and who fear something. The unknown, spirits, maybe just bad things happening to them. That's what it all boils down to in the end. And if you look at groups of people who are still superstitious, even today in the Western world, which is a lot less superstitious than it ever was, you've got sailors, miners, soldiers, motorcyclists, groups of people who actually are kind of at the mercy of fortune. If bad luck strikes, it can cause a huge amount of damage. So the superstitious person may believe in all this stuff and it may be part of their culture, but it all comes down in some way to this idea of fear and a lack of control. So a superstition is really there to try to influence fortune, influence forces that you can't control. And you know, even if that's not something that happens consciously, it's happening subconsciously. Now there'll be a lot of people who are watching this who are just thinking, superstition, load of rubbish. It's illogical, got no time for it. And there'll be some people who are there going, yeah, actually, yeah, that's sort of why I am superstitious. So, two things to do. Number one, ask yourself, why is it that you are either superstitious or not superstitious? If you are superstitious, what is it that's troubling you? But possibly more importantly, if you're not superstitious, why do you feel so comfortable? Why do you feel so safe? Think about your status in the world, the country that you grew up in, the family you grew up in. Social, economic, political, demographic issues. What is it that makes you feel so certain and so secure compared to those who don't? Every culture has a tradition of superstitions, generally coming from a time when life was uncertain. Why do you feel so certain? And on the flip side, number two, if you get into a discussion with someone who, say, is superstitious and you're not superstitious, you need to ask yourself, what do they fear? Why do they feel that they haven't got control? Why are they afraid? What's happened to them to make them salute magpies, knock on wood, stick a little bell on a motorcycle? So I hope this has given you something to think about. As ever, please leave your comments, please get in touch. It's always good to hear from you. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, stay safe. See you next time.